Hello students, welcome to Epitome IAS. So as a part of our series of videos regarding the answer writing program, so we are discussing polity and governance here. So this is the question pertaining to cabinet system, that is Council of Ministers, and what should be the principles of organization of this cabinet, okay, right? So whether the cabinet shall be larger in size or smaller in size, okay, that particular answer is given by UPSC itself, examiner himself, that the size of cabinet should be as big as governmental work justifies, okay, and as long as Prime Minister can manage as a team, okay. So how far is the efficacy of government then inversely related to the size of cabinet discuss, okay. So we need to understand certain important things, okay. First of all, in the governance, basically the structure of government and the things are there in the syllabus. Therefore, we need to understand the government is very complex system. It is very complex. Why it is complex? Because it deals with the complex aspects of the society, because society is to be governed. In the society, there are too many diversities, complexities or heterogeneity, okay, and challenges we can have, various sectors. So naturally, the governmental work will become very much complex. So when it is complex, obviously what is required, we need to ensure the proper designing of the system, okay, proper design of the system to cope up with the complexity, okay. So there must be a proper design of the system, there must be proper design of the governmental work, okay. And therefore we require effective or efficient division of work. So naturally, to cope up with the complexity, what is required? There must be division of work. The work must be divided into individual units so that we are in a position to perform the work so effectively, right. So the work of the government is divided. So the division of work is manifested in the form of various ministries or departments. We can also say it is a departmentalization. It is nothing but departmentalization, right. So we divide the work according to the nature of the work performed, or the subject matter that is dealing with, or the people it is going to serve. So these matters are the basis for the division of the work in the government, okay. So like that there will be ministry 1, ministry 2, ministry 3. This is how the governmental work is actually divided into various portfolios. And moreover, Article 77 of the Constitution provides the President to the power to frame the transaction of the business rules. These business rules are the basis for the division of work, okay. So that will be clearly defining what is a department and how it is constituted, what are the internal work dynamics of the department, right. These kind of fine aspects are dealt under transaction of business rules, right. So then what should be the number of departments, what should be the number of ministries, okay, what should be the size of cabinet, okay. Here the examiner wanted to ask you the very essence of Council of Ministers. Cabinet means, of course, formally speaking, cabinet is nothing but inner core of the Council of Ministers. But according to my understanding, he just did not ask about the cabinet, he asked about entire Council of Ministers, okay, right. So basically, what is cabinet, okay? Cabinet means what? Cabinet means it is the inner core of the Council of Ministers. Cabinet means inner core of the Council of Ministers, and it is a policy making body. Okay, primary policy making body. Okay, and it is the highest decision making body. Highest decision making body, right? So this cabinet consists of various ministers, very much senior. Okay, so the cabinet ministers will have high degree of experience, seniority, and importance, political importance. Okay, and moreover the entire council of ministers deal with various types of ministries. Okay, actually the cabinet ministers deal with all the matters independently. Okay, they do not have any senior other than prime minister. Okay, they are having the ultimate policy making or decision making power with respect to their ministry, and they can also make the collective policies also in the form of cabinet meetings. Okay, right. So basically the cabinet, above the cabinet you have different circles. Okay, we can say this is cabinet and this is outer core, this is external. Okay, so this is cabinet, it is ministers of state with independent charge, ministers of state. Okay, so minister of state with independent charge. Independent charge means what? They do not require the senior to take the decisions. That is what independent charge. Okay, they do not depend upon other minister, cabinet minister to take the decision on their portfolio is called as minister of state with independent charge. Minister of states, so that means they are the ministers who will be sharing the work of the cabinet minister. Okay, so that is how the organization of the council of ministers is there. And the context of the question, this question was asked in the year 2014. Okay, the primary reason behind this question was in 2014 Narendra Modi government came into power, and it has started a slogan called as minimum government, maximum governance. Minimum government, maximum governance. So naturally the minimum government means both the size of the government must be kept at the minimum. It means the number of decision makers shall be kept at the minimum number. At the same time, there must be least controls over the people. There must be highest level of liberty that are available for the people to take the decisions. Okay, government must not be dictating everything for the people. That is nothing but minimum government. Okay, so with that slogan, the Narendra Modi government came into power. So therefore, examiner has asked the question. Okay, in this context. Okay, what is the context of the question? I think you are able to understand what is the important principle we are considering. So wherever the division of work is there, okay, wherever there is division of work, there what we need to understand, there must be a requirement of coordination. There must be a requirement of coordination. So coordination is the most important thing. Okay, if division of work is not followed by the coordination, the very essence of division of work will be defeated and the government will be losing unity of direction. It is not able to be performing the goals, or it is not able to achieve the goals. So therefore, this is what the essence of the question. The size of cabinet should be as big as governmental work justifies, as long as prime minister can manage as a team. How far the efficacy of a government, then inversely related to the size of cabinet, right? So if we try to understand this question, we can write this kind of answer. Okay, first of all, in parliamentary form of democracy, cabinet plays an important role in the functioning of government. Okay, functioning of government. And its size and complexity depends upon the size of work the government manages, okay, and the capacity of Prime Minister to coordinate. The capacity of the government to coordinate, Prime Minister to coordinate. So, in the parliamentary form of democracy, Parliament plays an important role in the functioning of the government, and its size and complexity depends upon the size of government, the size of work the government manages, and the complexity of the Prime Minister to coordinate. Right. So, we can write these points. Okay, instead of writing every point here, I try to devote my attention to creating number of dimensions here. Okay, first of all, why cabinet size needs to be large? Why? Okay, the cabinet size needs to be large because of, just now I told you, complexity of governmental work, because since India is a welfare state, hence it needs to focus upon all the dimensions of public interest. Okay. Example, for example, we try to see there is Ministry of Social Justice, Ministry of Family, Ministry of Tribal Affairs. So, these are all the ministries are dealing with the same subject matter, but they are dealing with the different sections of populations. So, that is why governmental work is so complex, okay, and in the context of the welfare state. Okay. Next important thing is government has to focus upon crucial aspects of developing human capital. Therefore, it needs to explore new forms of ministries, as well as departments. Example, Ministry of Skill Development. Ministry of Skill Development. Moreover, the LPG has brought new dimensions of governance, particularly in improving social capital. Okay. So therefore, what is the new ministry has been created? For example, okay, we can say Ministry of Cooperatives. Ministry of Cooperatives. Similarly, what else we can see? The regional disparities. Okay. Also make the government to create new ministries like Ministry of Northeastern Affairs, Ministry of Northeastern Affairs, that is Northeastern States Development Ministry. Okay. Moreover, the larger size of cabinet became a necessity in the context of the larger size of cabinet became necessity in the context of coalition era of government, coalition era of the government, okay, or coalition era of politics, we can say coalition era of politics. Okay. So you need to accommodate different ministries, different political parties present to different ministries. Okay. And apart from that, the larger size of cabinet can also help in political inclusion and stability. Political institution and stability. So these are the arguments which we can give in favor of increasing the size of the cabinet, right? And then that must be able to be managed within the Prime Minister's capacity within the Prime Minister's capacity. So, however, the size of cabinet must be within the capacity of Prime Minister to manage as a team, right? So that means Prime Minister must be able to, because Prime Minister is the head of the government. Okay. Prime Minister has a primary responsibility, particularly in the present dimensions. Actually, Prime Minister is primus inter pares. He is the first among the equals. But in the present dynamics of the political system, we are able to see the Prime Minister is the face of the government. Prime Minister is becoming the face of the government. Elections are fought on the image of the prime ministerial candidate. Okay. So therefore, Prime Minister must be able to ensure the good governance by better coordination. He is the head of the government. He is the primary responsible person as far as the government is concerned. He is the face of the government, and his vision shapes the performance of the government or sets the agenda for the government, right? So therefore, he must be able to coordinate the cabinet ministers. cabinet ministers. He must be able to coordinate the cabinet ministers. When the size is increased, definitely the coordinating functions of the prime ministers would also increase, right? So therefore what is happening? The prime minister's office role is increasing. PMO's role is increasing. The PMO is becoming a mini cabinet secretariat. Mini cabinet secretariat. Cabinet secretariat's role is decreasing and prime minister's office role is increasing. And prime minister's office indulges in the regulation of all the coordination of all the ministries, right? So that's why the prime minister must be individually capable enough to manage it as a team. So in this context, the prime minister is using different methods. Okay, he is using cabinet committees to deal with certain issues. Okay, he is using technology, like for example Pragati platform. Okay, similarly he is using, of course, PMO office for the better coordination. He is using the concept of kitchen cabinet in order to take the important political issues. So like this, there are different methods used by the prime minister, right? And next dimension, what is the next dimension of the question? So how far is the efficacy of government is then inversely related to the size of cabinet. Okay, so he is asking whether efficacy of government decreases if cabinet size increases. Okay, right? Generally when the cabinet size is high, when the size of cabinet is increased, what will happen? It will be leading to fragmentation of subject matter. Fragmentation of the subject matter. Okay. For example, if we try to see, take the Ministry of Health versus Ministry of Chemicals. Always there is a challenge, because Ministry of Chemicals deals with the pharmaceutical companies and regulation, drug regulation, and Ministry of Health deals with health and family matters, like, and of course health regulation comes under the Ministry of Health. So there is a overlapping. That means there is a fragmentation of the subject matters. And what else is the problem is, there will be a problem of delaying the decisions. There is a delays. There is a problem of delays in the decision making, leading to policy paralysis. There will be interministerial conflicts, okay, due to overlapping of the subject, overlapping of subject matter. There is a scope for corruption due to the lack of proper supervision. There will be a dilution of collective responsibility. There is a chance of information leakage. Okay. So this is how. So that's why there is some kind of supportive argument that if the size of government increases, definitely there is a chance for the decrease in the efficacy of the government. But however, the 91st Constitutional Amendment Act of 2003 has fixed the size for the Council of Ministers at the 15% by including Article 75 Clause 1A. Clause 1A. Okay. So this clause actually limited the size of the Council of Ministers. But despite this reason, the size of the cabinet appears to be larger in size. Initially, Narendra Modi government wanted to keep the Council of Ministers size and cabinet size at the bare minimum. But however, in the course of time, what happened? Because of the political compulsions, the size of the cabinet was said to be increased. Okay, right. So this is how we can write the answer. And at the same time, the Second Administrative Reforms Commission, SARC, has mentioned certain important points like the size of the cabinet or Council of Ministers is not the sole factor to compromise the efficiency of the government. But the organization of ministries, division of work and coordination mechanisms are very important, which decide the efficacy of government, Okay. So therefore, it has recommended, second ARC has recommended certain things. Okay, right. So division of the work in the government in this way. So there will be core. See, so what the second ARC has recommended was the work in the government should be divided in such a manner that, okay, the division of work shall be in the manner that all the relevant subject matters must be grouped together. For example, Ministry of Transport. So government has organized Ministry of Transport as Ministry of all the things, all the surface transport ministries all have been grouped together, okay, except Railway Ministry, Water Transport and Road Transport, everything is grouped together, okay. But second ARC says all the transport ministries shall be grouped together, okay. And so for example, 20 to 30 departments shall be grouped together, all the related departments must be grouped together, and a minister shall be assigned for that. So he is called as first coordination minister. He must be very senior minister, okay. And thereafter there will be second coordination minister, third coordination minister. So it means when you group all the subject matters this way, definitely the decision making and the operationalization of the ministerial work will be very easy. That is one thing it has said about. Not just the size of the cabinet is a matter, rather how you are going to organize the work is the most important thing, okay. So it means all the related subject matters are grouped together. For that there will be first coordination minister. Thereafter for 10 departments or 15 lesser than that, there will be second coordination minister. That's how you are going to assign the ministerial responsibilities. And it also recommended that the transaction of the business rules must be amended in such a way that every ministry must be having a set of laws, a list of laws. There must be a clear list of laws it is dealing with. the list of laws it is dealing with, so that the work will be very clearly analyzed or organized. Okay, and see, the ministerial work must be giving the scope for transparency in the decision making. Okay, like this it has talked about. So it did not find the fault with the size of the Council of Ministers. It has agreed in the present dynamics of the governance, we cannot manage with the smaller portfolios or smaller ministerial numbers. We need required to have the political representation across the country, political inclusion. Okay, and at the same time we need to address the coalition compulsions. These are all the things which the political system has to deal with, but the work division must be properly fixed. And moreover, we can give another set of suggestions, that properly organizing cabinet committees. We need to ensure the cabinet committees must be appointed in order to coordinate the task of taking the decisions, particularly when the subject matter is overlapped among different ministries. Okay, and there must be usage of technology, and the role of the cabinet secretariat must be increased in dealing with the interministerial things. Okay, and even the department's work culture must be improved. There must be performance orientation with respect to the work of the government. That means there must be promotions or incentives shall be given on the basis of the performance. Okay, so that is how we can understand. Okay, so I hope we have answered for the every dimension of the question, right? So this is how we explained what is the concept of cabinet. We explained what is the reason for the increasing size of the Council of Ministers, why cabinet size needs to be large. Okay, we discussed all these points. Okay, we mentioned all these points here. Complexity of the governmental work. Government has to focus upon crucial aspects of human development, human capital. LPG brought new dimensions of governance. Regional disparities, largeness of the cabinet size is a necessity in the context of coalition era of politics, political inclusion and stability. This is how we discussed. And however, the size of cabinet must be within the capacity of the Prime Minister to manage as a team. So how the Prime Minister is coping up with the increased size of the cabinet. Okay, is it all necessary that the efficacy decreases when the size of cabinet increases, leading to fragmentation of subject matters, delays in the decision making, interministerial conflicts, scope of the corruption, dilution of the collective responsibility, chances of information leakage, etc. Okay, but it is not always the size of the cabinet. Increased size will be leading to wrong consequences in the governance, but it depends upon the Prime Minister's leadership abilities to cope up with the increased size of the cabinet. And what are the recommendations given by Second Administrative Reforms Commission. So this is how we need to write the answer. Okay, on the face of it, the question is very complex. It is very difficult for the beginner to write the answer, but however, we need to understand the essence of the topic. Then in that dimension we must be able to understand the question. Okay, thank you, and let us meet in the next video. Thank you.